Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Tom Clancy's The Division. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and salutations. Today, it's Times Square. Let's get to it. If you're going for the Fang shield, then at some point you'll have to do Times Square on Legendary. Now you'll notice right off the bat that the Legendary mission is a lot different than the normal missions. The types and placement of enemies are a lot different than what you would see. You could do it solo, but it will take you a lot of time, and it is very punishing if you do go down. Enemies will often one-hit you when they melee you, so even getting close to enemies is risky. And occasionally they just run up to you and pelt you. Alright, so it is best to go with your highest level gear and in a group of 4. If you have a pre-made group, even better, because you know what everyone's going to be running and what is to be expected from you in the group. Now, if you do not have a pre-made group, does that mean you can't do it? No, you are still able to do it. The difference is that you're going to have to observe and adjust your gear and strategy based on what other people are doing. In this particular run is a good example of 4 people that got together, where possibly 2 were together and the other 2 were by themselves. And not everyone was on the same page in terms of strategy, in terms of where they should be at any given moment during an encounter. So as a general rule, if at all possible, have one person on your team with Reclaimer. That'll give you greatly increased healing rate, so survivability is going to go way up. Plus, you don't have to worry as much about ammunition. And if the Reclaimer is also running a pulse, that is going to greatly increase the DPS of the team overall. Now, I do recommend everyone use recovery length as their super, because that will help bring people up that are down, that are in a risky position, perhaps because they needed to be in that position in order to take out a support station of the enemy or whatever. So there are times when you do need one person to take a risk, and more than likely they'll go down during that particular risk. However, how you get them up is going to be difficult. Either you have to use recovery length, or you have to have defibrillator equipped. Defibrillator, of course, doesn't do a lot of healing. The main reason to use defibrillator is to bring people up. So if you do have a member of your team that has defibrillator, that'll help you out, so you're not reliant completely on recovery link to bring people up that are in the soup of enemies. Now, you will want to have at least one tanky DPS and at least one firearms based member on your fire team. Now, you don't have to. You can, and it's a good idea in general, but it's not something that you have to do. It's something that I recommend. So one dedicated healer, preferably Reclaimer, one person that's running a 9,000 stamina build, one person that's running a 9,000 firearm build, and then the fourth member is kind of a catch-all. More or less, I don't care what you guys are doing, I'm going to do my own thing, and that will work out because it's a catch-all position. They can be a skill-based, electronics-based, they can be stamina-based, they can be firearms-based, and as long as they have some idea of what they're doing, it'll be okay. Now, during each encounter, the enemy is going to try to flank you or snipe you. So depending on where it's at and how forward you are, so the closer you are to the enemy, the more likely they will to try to flank you. Staying farther back, unless you're using some sort of marksman rifle, it'll be a little bit more difficult to get damage on the enemy. So you want to kind of be in that sweet spot, not too far but not too close, where you can do damage on the enemy when they're out of cover and not get flanked at the same time, which is always why it's a good idea to have people on the same page. So if you have a mic, if you don't have a mic, show some way that the team should be pushing forward, they should be in a better position, or what have you. And obviously, if you have 4 people matchmaking, no mic, it's going to be very difficult to communicate where you would like to be set up, where you should be, and when it is a good time to push forward and when you should back off. If everything goes well, I think the Times Square is one of the faster legendary missions. So if everything is going well, your team doesn't wipe, and you're more or less on the same page, it is relatively quick to go through this one. So if you're looking for an exotic cache and not really going for the Fang shield in particular, this one is one of the faster ones, or can be one of the faster ones. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to ring the bell before you leave to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. And thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.
Additional hostiles detected. Hostiles detected. Hostiles detected. Hostiles detected.